welcome wrestling fans to the PW Fan. The PW Fan's a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans, and we appreciate you joining us today for episode 9. I am your host, representing the old school wrestling fan, and your favorite barber, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Andy.
I'm also your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan, Jeremy.
All right, guys, we got another great show today. We're going to be covering King of the Ring, AEW Rampage. We're going to be back to doing our Dynamite review and talk a little bit about Luna Vachon and more. But first, because it's going to bother me if I don't, we got to go over some housekeeping from last week. I said a couple things about Luna Vachon that I was wrong about, and you know, if I'm going to be the old school wrestling guy, I feel like I need to go back and correct them. So, one, Mad Dog Vachon was not Luna Vachon's father. Luna Vachon's father was a man named Butcher Vachon, and also Luna was not married to Bam Bam Bigelow. That was it was an online story or a on TV storyline that I guess when I was a kid I thought was real. And she was with Gangrel in real life. So I definitely messed up a few things from last time. And also, Andy, I got to give you your credit. You said that she was Shawn Michaels' valet at one point, and I quickly cut you off and said, "Oh, are you sure you don't mean Sherry?" So, and there was footage of that, and I didn't remember that. It looked like it was at WrestleMania. So, had to get all that stuff out of the way. So, before we get started today, I also want to talk about... we are going to do something where if whoever leaves us the best iTunes review, we're going to send you guys one of our new shirts from ProWrestlingTees.com. So, and we'll contact you, get your size, and we'll send it to you. So all you got to do is go on iTunes and leave us a review. We're going to pick our favorite review, and we're going to send you a t-shirt. Other than that, I think we're ready to get started. Let's get to it. Andy, you want to start us this week?
Yeah, starting off with last week's Smackdown, I just wanted to touch on the King of the Ring semifinals, the Queen's Crown Tournament semifinals, and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So on the Smackdown side, we had Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn for the King of the Ring semifinals tournament. The winner was Finn Balor, so he was going to Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Then for the Queen's Crown Tournament semifinals, we had Selena Vega versus Carmella. The winner was Selena Vega. Now, last week I said I had picked Carmella, so I was actually, I don't know about you guys, I was very surprised that she was the winner.
We were wrong.
How about, what do you think, Jeremy? Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually surprised too. Because I was like, of course it's going to be Carmella, right?
Yeah. So it looks like on the SmackDown side, Selena and Finn are both going to Crown Jewel to be in the finals for both of those tournaments. Wrapping up SmackDown, though, I thought it was kind of short of a segment, but I liked it a lot. It was the contract signing between Brock and Roman. I thought it was pretty entertaining. Brock by himself has just been funny. I believe he said something like he didn't even look at the contract and signed it, and Roman just calls him he's like, "You're, a big dumb farmer and stuff. You just sign stuff, you don't even read them," and he's like, Brock says something along the lines of, "I don't need to read it. I already read it with my advocate, Paul Heyman, this morning." So Brock's just still getting under Roman's skin. But I don't know. The whole banter, the whole banter back and forth with this storyline has been really fun. What do you guys think?
I think Brock needs to be on his own more, like that, on the mic at least. Because that was pretty cool. And the way he delivered that last line was really great. And I don't think people expect it from him at all. Just the way he looks, and also he's never really talked that much. And when he did, I don't think he was that great in the beginning. At least that's why they had Paul Heyman with him. But
yeah, when he came back, I remember Tim telling me that when he first came back after his long hiatus, he was by himself, and I don't think he wanted to do it anymore, talking wise. And so he asked for Paul Heyman back. Does that sound right, Tim?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, like, Paul Heyman is so great. I think it was a couple weeks ago when he was like crying next to Roman Reigns.
He was crying. His
eyes were all welled up, and he was terrified. Oh, he's so good at his role. Yeah. He's excellent at it. And I love Brock with the feet up on the table. Roman thinks he has one over on him. He's calling him a big dumb farmer, and then all of a sudden they do the swerve where Brock's still doing stuff with Heyman behind Roman's back. So it's cool.
Yep. Moving on though, I'm actually gonna pass it over to you guys because I didn't see this match, but Rampage went head to head this week with SmackDown, I believe, and their buy-in started at about 9:30. I want to say.
Started at 9.
Started
a whole
at 9.
hour.
Okay. I don't know how many matches were on there, but I know one of them was Bryan Danielson versus Monaro Suzuki. I want you guys to talk about this because I didn't have a chance to see it. I'm gonna have to go back, maybe talk about it.
Go back and watch this match.
That's what you guys said. You guys said it was amazing. So yeah, get right into it.
Yeah, so this match finished up the buy-in. I think it started around 9:30ish, and then so Suzuki and Bryan Danielson had, I think, the hardest hitting match I've seen in, I don't know, years. Like, I don't think I've ever seen people forearm to forearm right after another one, and then Bryan kicking them in the chest repeatedly over and over again. And the thing that made it so great was the Miami crowd was going insane for the entire match. And you could tell that they had such respect for each other, but also were just like, let's just go and beat the shit out of each other and just see what happens. And I think the only thing they had planned going out there was the ending with the finish, but everything else was just them going at and trying to hit each other as hard as they can and see what happens.
Yeah, I really like this match. It's not typically the type of thing I would like, with just the stopping and waiting for the next guy to hit him, and then he would wait for the next guy to do a forearm on him. But I really liked the intensity though, and something about when they were doing it, it drew me in, and I thought it was a really hard hitting match. I thought Danielson's selling was awesome. He really made it seem like he got knocked out at one point, and which kind of plays into like, oh, he has the concussion stuff, and it just makes you like kind of get into it, like, oh man, what if you're like, I know he's selling, but like, what if, kind of thing. It gets you, it kind of sucks you in a little bit,
yeah.
And
every time he gets hit in the face like that, everyone's gonna think that.
Yeah, and it was out of my wheelhouse for matches, like the strong style stuff, especially like the slowed down stuff, but I thought they did a really good job. I just want to say though, this is the only Suzuki match that I've enjoyed so far. I don't want to be like, the heel of the podcast, but this is the only one that I've liked. So
he did look a lot better in this, like just the way that he was. I guess it was the style.
Well, he was actually moving in chain wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I feel like just him and Danielson worked so well together. They just made the whole match great. And I remember towards the end is Suzuki gets hit with I think it was a chop or a forearm by Bryan, and then he like goes kind of yells to the crowd, and then he goes back and hits Bryan. And Bryan looks at the crowd and yells, like, he's like, Miami, let's go. And the crowd gets fired up, and they start like just swinging back and forth. And I was like, the last 5 minutes, it was just an insane atmosphere, I think, which was to me, it was kind of the difference if you switch back to like SmackDown, just for like that, I don't know, hour, like from 9:30 basically to 10:30.
Yeah. I just wanted to say one more thing about the match. Yeah. One of the shows that I listened to, the hosts were saying that they didn't like the match because they thought it was just so phony with the waiting for the shots going back and forth. And I can see what they're saying, but I just wanted to say, like, what I looked at it more like was like kind of like a test of strength or toughness, rather than like, let's show how phony wrestling is. I think it was more like you hit me, I'll hit you. Like, we'll see who's stronger and tougher. I think that's what they meant more for it to come off like, not like, I think some people thought it was just like, why would you just let the other guy hit you? And I think it was more like, oh, we're going to show like who the stronger person is, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the Japanese strong style. And like having that respect where you just take each other's shots and see if he can take it.
And you know what? That might not be for everybody, but I thought these guys did it well.
So was there an intensity to Danielson that maybe we hadn't seen in a long time in WWE that was, apparent in this match?
I think definitely in this match, especially like towards the end when he was yelling to the crowd and then he just started really going at it, and the shots that he was hitting on Suzuki, haven't seen in WWE. I know that match wouldn't be basically allowed in WWE, which I think is why it's such a great decision for Bryan to leave. But yeah, it's like you never see him hit somebody that hard in WWE.
It sounds like I'll have to go back and check it out. The next match, which I guess was the official opener of Rampage, was CM Punk versus Matt Sydal. Winner was CM Punk. I thought this match was awesome. I thought it was his best yet since being back. It's also, I was thinking about it, it's also a familiar opponent. Everyone else was brand new opponents for him. He used to wrestle, CM Punk used to wrestle Matt Sydal in Ring of Honor pre-WWE. So I thought it was awesome. What do you guys think?
I think it was the best that's Punk to look, and I think it's really shown like how well that the AEW's handled him, and also how Punk has handled his return. Just because if he jumped straight into like a Kenny Omega match, he hasn't been wrestling for 7 years like Bryan Danielson has. So the match I don't think would have been as good or even close to it. So I'm glad that he's working his way through these younger talents too. It's nice to see the new feuds that he has.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match too, and I thought, like Andy was saying, I think this is their best or Punk's best match so far, because he probably wanted to work with somebody that he, like you were saying, he was familiar with, that he's had matches with before. I'm sure if I went back when Matt Sydal was Evan Bourne, him and Punk probably wrestled at some point, maybe a bunch of matches. So they were around each other at the same time. So there's familiarity there, and I'm sure working with younger guys, he's like, this is cool, but let me go out there and work with a guy for this week that I can show some stuff that I can still, or just maybe he feels a little bit more comfortable working with this person. I thought the one thing though with Punk, and I'm enjoying his return, I feel like as much as anybody, he is very giving with his opponents right now, maybe a little too giving, like where he makes them look very strong, but he's making like everybody look strong. You know what I mean? Like he struggles to beat every single person, like whether it's Matt Sydal or it's Darby Allin, like he always makes it look like the other person's putting up a good fight, which is cool, but I'd like to see a couple matches where he just like kicks ass, you know what I mean, where he just like takes a guy out, because it just makes him seem a little bit more tougher and more credible. But I mean, he's going over in every match, which that's making him look strong, but I just think he sometimes almost makes the other people like look like they're beating him, like they're making him like they could beat him at any second, which I'm like, I don't know if you should do that, but that's just me.
Put him up against the librarian.
Yeah.
Have him beat the shit out of him.
Okay, but
he did mention that thought that he's trying to make selling cool, and so he was like, maybe he's like, I'll just try to sell all the time now.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Like Matt Sydal, like he hasn't really been doing much, and all of a sudden, like he puts up like a hell of a fight against CM Punk, almost beats him. Like after this, they better do something with him, right? Like, I mean, he made him look.
Exactly. That he can go toe to toe with him, like, yeah, and his record's been kind of fluctuating ever since he, debuted. It's not really stayed steady.
If you don't, it's like this guy went toe to toe with CM Punk, but he doesn't do anything. He just like hangs out in the back and like.
Yeah. No, it definitely makes sense. Well, hopefully it ends up being a good thing for Matt Sydal. You never know. I mean, he's a really, good talent. People seem to like him. Just have to wait and see.
I mean, it seemed like it did well. They beat SmackDown in the key demo rating for that half an hour.
The great debate. This is a hot subject right now, because obviously for viewership, SmackDown won the overall viewership, but people are saying for the key demo that matters, that moves the needle or whatever.
Wasn't
they're
it like
saying
49 or something?
That
for
audience,
SmackDown?
that audience was watching AEW, so they're calling that a victory. And then you got real hardcore WWE fans who are saying that that's not even true, and like this is a false narrative because SmackDown won overall viewership. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Like, do you look at the 18 to 35 male demo as the real audience, and the everybody else is just like the casual flippant channel flipper, or like I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think the war has begun, and whether you actually admit it or not, you can look at social media and tell. I mean, at least it's begun with the fans. If you don't want to say it, there's real competition there with the
Tony
television
Khan's
show.
made it start too.
Look, Tony Khan is sparking some, lighting some fires within the wrestling world, and I think a lot of what's going on recently has to do with maybe some of his remarks.
I like that he's defending himself, because let's be honest, they're starting it with him, but then they're pretending that they're not doing anything. Like they're like, "Oh, we don't even care what you guys do." And it's really like, "Come on. You're doing certain things on purpose just to like poke us with a stick, basically." And
you think they just added an extra half an hour this Friday just cuz?
And it was a big time match, and they took out the commercials and blah blah blah. But the other thing too is, I like that Tony is defending himself and putting up a fight. I just don't want him to like say something that like, when you say you're gonna, when you say your show, like if you we could beat Raw, you don't want to make yourself look look dumb. So I just hope that he
said he was going to beat SmackDown and then didn't.
He did. Yeah, he didn't in viewership, and then you got and I'm gonna try to keep it fair. You got your AEW fans who are saying, "Oh, that was a decisive victory." I'm like, it wasn't though, and it just depends on where you're looking at it from,
how you look at it.
Yeah,
I will say, as a person who looks at analytics and data all day for my job,
yes, Jeremy has a real job.
It is a big deal for that key demo. It is a big deal for that key demo from 18 to what is it? It's not 18 to 49, or is it 18 to 34?
It's changed over the years, I think. I thought it used to be 18 to 35. Maybe they've expanded it to 40 something.
Well, even if it is 18 to 35, people look at that as a big deal just because that's like the future wrestling fans who are going to continue to watch. Because obviously, if you're over 40, 50, you're on the older side now. So,
you're watching NXT 2.0.
Yeah, for the edgy comedy.
Hey, AJ Styles. AJ Styles is over 40.
Yeah, I mean, wrestlers, they're fine because they're in shape.
Are fine.
It's not like us watching at home. We're not in shape like the wrestlers.
There's some guy. There's some jack dude listening to this right now, being like, "Speak for yourself."
So, do you guys want to move on to our weekly Dynamite review?
Yes, and
yeah,
I'm happy.
Yes, yeah. This week it was Saturday night. So Dynamite this week opened up with, what a surprise, CM Punk coming out to do commentary for the night.
What's that, like his third time doing commentary?
Dude, I feel like every show opens up with some CM Punk, whether it's a match or him coming out to commentary or backstage.
It's a great way to pop the crowd away.
And yeah, it gets it going. Our first match, though, was Dante Martin versus Malachi Black. The winner was Malachi Black. I'm sure came to no surprise to anyone, but I thought this was awesome. I've said before, Dante Martin is really good. He's only 20 years old, and he's just going to keep getting better. And he made it seem like he really put up a fight when it came to Malachi Black. He looked like he gave Black some trouble at times, but I really enjoyed it. What about you guys?
I love these kind of matches that AEW does because it's building a star, which you rarely see anymore. And yeah, it's kind of like that young kid trying to beat the veteran, and then he gives him a run for his money, and then still ends up losing. But you saw Malachi when he was on the ramp. It was kind of awkward how he did it or how the cameras caught it, but he gave him that nod of like, he's on his way up there.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match too. My only critique of Dante Martin in the past was that he made everything look really pretty and didn't look like he was in a fight. And now I think he's found a nice combination of both where he can do all the athletic stuff, but he still looks like his selling's really good, that he's an underdog, and then when he is fighting back, there's a little bit more of a vicious side. It looks a little bit more like he's really struggling. So, yeah, I thought it was a really good match, and I liked the nod at the end. I thought that was kind of a cool way to pay respect to him. And
from Black, yeah.
That's the only time that Malachi Black has, like, even showed anybody, like, anything, really, like, as far as, like, respect or as from a character standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
So after that, we had Jurassic Express backstage, and up come the Super Elite and attacks them. This will eventually come back to bite them later on in the show. Then we had the Inner Circle out in the ring. And, of course, at least lately, America Top Team is going to come out. You know, they're in Miami where, I think Masvidal's out with them and a bunch of other members of American Top Team are out there.
Yeah, that's where their, like, headquarters are.
Yeah, that's where their gym and everything is located. Yeah. After that, we had a match. We had the Lucha Bros versus a masked tag team that's friends with Andrade, but I think everyone could tell right away it was FTR. And this was for the AAA Tag Team Championships. Your winners and new AAA Tag Team Champions is FTR.
I feel like this was so disrespectful.
I mean, look, I love FTR, so good for them.
Yeah, right. But like, I was glad that Punk was on commentary first. He's like, who's gonna say it? Like, come on, guys.
Oh my God! Right away, he was saying it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. But I also love FTR. It's a little bit of a flashback to. Got to do a little bit of the old stuff, you know me. There was Edge and Christian were feuding with the Hardys, and at one point, the Edge and Christian were wrestling as the Conquistadors, and then it was like clearly Edge and Christian, you know, and they were kind of like doing the same thing, and then the Hardys did the same thing, and then they won the belts, and then they unmasked, and it was the Hardys. So yeah, it's just like I thought that was a cool little. If that's a little bit of what they were doing a callback to, that was a cool thing to see. It was kind of funny.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It's really similar. So after that, we had Dante Martin and with Leo Rush backstage. I don't even know anymore what Leo Rush is doing. I don't even know if he's here to wrestle or if he's just doing this.
He's a money man. I don't know what that means.
Bitcoin Leo, like, you know, he's. I don't know what he's doing, but he's talking with whoever's interviewing him about, you know, stuff like this happens with Dante losing. It's like a growing process, basically. It is what it is. Moving on. We had MGF and Andrade backstage. I thought this was hilarious. MGF is, you know, they're in Miami, a very big Spanish-speaking town, and MGF is saying it's just terrible Spanish, straight to Andrade's face, you know, talking about being paid and stuff, and he's like, gracias, like, and just like, you know, not even trying at all, but, you know, playing the role very well. After that, we had a match. It was Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuda with Orange Cassidy. Moxley won in very quick fashion. Quick. Yeah, as soon as the bell rang, I don't remember if it was as soon as the bell rang or before. He just like got in the ring and started beating the shit out of him. I think the match was over in like 2 minutes. It was something crazy like that.
Yeah, people were saying that he's turning heel because he has his baby daughter is driving him crazy.
Oh, God. Okay. God, I hope that's not the reason why. But so then we had Serena Deeb backstage doing an interview when all of a sudden Hikaru Shida comes up and attacks her. Guess she's getting revenge from when Serena beat her and then hit her with the award that she would have won if she wins. For 50, the first woman in AEW with 50 wins. After that, we had the Dark Order versus the Super Clique. The winners were the Super Clique, but because of earlier, Jungle Boy came out and attacked. And I believe, did the rest of the clique, Super Clique and everything leave Adam Cole hanging?
It was
high and
Brandon
dry.
Cutler.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so they ended up beating up Brandon Cutler, and everyone's just like watching from the ramp.
Which is like one of my favorite parts now of the Super Clique or any of the Super Elite people. It's like Brandon Cutler is hilarious to me now.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Tim?
Man, I don't know. I see what you're saying, Jeremy, about it's hilarious, but I'm like, I feel like the Super Clique or whatever they're calling themselves, like, could be way cooler if they just kind of trim the fat on some stuff. Like, imagine it just being the Young Bucks, Adam Cole. I guess if you're gonna add the Good Brothers in there, go ahead. That's not my favorite idea, but I just sometimes when like groups get too many members, I feel like it gets a little like. But again, if you like funny stuff and like any sort of like comedy, then like yeah, there's a place for that. Like him being basically the scapegoat to get beat up, and they always just kind of like leave him behind. I mean, it is funny. I just think the group would be stronger if they kind of got rid of some of the silly stuff and made it more, I don't know, like kind of like Four Horsemen-ish.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of funny because when I looked back at like New Japan and the Bullet Club and when it was like the Young Bucks and Omega, and it was like they had like so many people in that group, and it was a lot of times just like run-ins like this, and they would beat up people, and people like now watching AEW are like, well, this is kind of boring. This is what happens, or this always happens. And I'm like. It's kind of what they always just did in New Japan, but I don't think everyone just saw it then.
By the way, was this Dark Order versus Super Clique match? Was this the one with the recent spot where Adam Cole had someone in like his camel
Yeah.
clutch, and instead of the spot where the Young Bucks kiss him on the cheek, you had
Yes.
one of the two Dark Order members do it?
John
Right.
Silver
I
and
thought
Alex
that was
Reynolds.
funny.
Yeah. And Adam Cole's face when he realized this is them was priceless.
John Silver, or do you mean Johnny Hungy?
Yeah.
Dude, every time JR says Johnny Hungy on commentary, I can't help but to laugh.
It's hilarious.
He might be my favorite member of the Dark Order. He's so
Yeah.
funny.
Mine before.
Let's give a little shout out to JR. He's recently having some. He said he's having a skin cancer scare on his leg. So hope JR's okay. Hopefully
Jesus.
everything's fine and he gets back to normal.
Yeah, hope he. For sure. So after the Dark Order Super Clique match, we had. I don't know, it was kind of a weird segment to me, but it was Cody Rhodes showing up to like the Nightmare Factory, like wrestling center.
This was not
And
good.
it was like some weird training. It was some weird training session, and like Arn's coaching him. I can't tell if they're like cool again or not, but still basically making it seem like Cody's a bitch. Like,
I don't know, Arn's gonna shoot him if he leaves, I guess. That's
Dude.
why he stays.
yeah, I remember watching just like I was like, this is so odd. And, yeah, like Tim said, it was not good.
Yeah. It's like that like B-level movie quality too. Because all
And the acting was terrible. I mean,
Yeah,
the acting,
all the acting was
real
terrible.
bad.
Yeah. And then it annoys me so much when they announced Cody and Malachi Black for a third match. It's like, Cody's going to win this.
What's up with all these matches and all these companies coming to like a third,
Yeah.
final? I mean, Jericho and MJF had like what,
Yeah,
five? Five, yeah.
Here,
I mean, AEW rarely does this, so it's really surprising.
just a thought. I would be down for this if, like Jeremy was saying, if Cody's going to win. What if, though, Cody wins because he turns heel and cheats? Because if he wins clean or if he wins like a babyface, the crowd's going to turn on him because they're not going to want him to beat Malachi because they're already sick of him because of his TV show and all the other corny stuff he's doing. So maybe I would just embrace it.
Tim's out here speaking from the heart and his own opinions about the TV show.
Yeah, Andy likes it.
Hey, I
Oh,
like
yeah.
it, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
You just hate Cody more now because of it.
It was the promo.
Yeah, don't lump me in
I'm
with those
sorry.
fans.
That promo was the one where he was crying. I hated that promo.
The crying promo.
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh, yeah.
My
That's,
beautiful
for me,
daughter.
that's where the line was, and I was like, nope, I don't like this Cody.
So you guys really think they're gonna have Malachi's first loss be to Cody?
I hope.
I mean,
not.
it feels like that. Right?
Yeah. But then Cody's just gonna go away for a little bit and not wrestle as much.
I think that's the problem. Whereas the crowd start turned on because to see him doing other things than wrestling, and not putting. Well, at least we don't see him putting everything into it. But he may be in the behind the scenes, really. But I think that's why the people start booing him more, is because he's doing this. The reality show, I don't think helps him at all. Like, Brandy and Cody look terrible on that show. I don't know.
Dude, season finale this weekend. Already 7 episodes.
That's because they did 2
6 or
episodes.
7, something like that.
They were like, let's get this thing off the air. 2 episodes every time it comes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was 2 episodes for 2 weeks in a row, and then they did just 1 last week.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway. So then after the Cody Rhodes Nightmare Factory segment, we had MGF out in the ring, set to wrestle Darby Allin for their originally scheduled match, but, of course, because of last week and the attack by who knows, quote unquote, backstage of these masked guys, which we all knew was the Pinnacle, Darby was hurt and couldn't wrestle. So MJF has the ref counting to 10, out comes Sting, and I don't think Sting hurt Wardlow. I don't think he ended up touching MJF, though, I believe.
Right.
Unless you guys correct me, but
No, he didn't.
so after that we had a quick backstage.
Well, I'll just say a quick thing on MJF.
Yeah,
I don't know
go
if
for it.
anyone's seen it, but he did an interview with Barstool and their like YouTube show called Wrestling with an R. He did a 50-minute interview all on a heel character and just
Love it.
destroyed
Love
the
it.
guy the entire time. It was hilarious.
Love it. He keeps kayfabe alive.
Yeah. And he was like, he was joking about moving to WWE because his contract's up soon, and talking about Roman Reigns.
He emails Bruce Pritchard all the time, right?
Yeah.
So he says.
Yeah.
The guy he started off by making fun of, he started like going off on this guy, and the guy all of a sudden he's like, who the hell are you? I don't have to take your shit. And just starts like getting mad and roasting him back.
It was a great interview if anyone hasn't seen it.
God. He might be the best heel, actual heel in the wrestling business right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Like old school heel.
Just wait until it's him and Punk in a feud. That's going to be hilarious and awesome.
Oh my God, yeah. So then we had Anna Jay backstage doing an interview. Britt Baker comes up, interrupts. I'm trying to remember what exactly happened. She didn't beat up Anna Jay. Did she? She just talked trash to her basically the whole time.
Yeah.
She brings up how the Dark Order just lost and the Dark Order is basically garbage.
Right.
So then we had a match. It was Kiera Hogan versus Penelope Ford. The winner was Penelope Ford, and afterwards Ruby Soho came out and attacked her, which I think, which was for retribution from Rampage when Ruby Soho wrestled the Bunny, and Penelope Ford came out and the Bunny and Ford beat her up after her match.
And also, just a side note, the Bunny was a segment that beat Roman and Brock in the Key Demo. So everyone's calling the Bunny the Key Demo God now.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense because the Brock and Roman segment was the last part of the show.
And that's when the Bunny and Ruby Soho was on.
Interesting. God. So then we had Hangman Adam Page interview with Tony Schiavone. Just, I guess, talking about everything, just, going on with Adam Page, of him leaving, coming back, wrestling, getting ready to wrestle Kenny Omega. Any thoughts on this interview, guys? We're just ready to see that match between them two. You think he'll win, become the new champion?
I mean, this promo made it feel like he has to win now.
Yeah, he can't lose this title for, the third time?
I think it's second time, but he got close before, but then lost that match with the Dark Order.
But he lost against Jericho when it was the first ever too. Yeah. You think he's losing, Tim? Is
He's
what
not
you're saying?
losing.
I think he's losing.
God.
That'd be terrible.
Poor guy if he does. Yeah. Like, what do you do with his character after
I just
that?
have a hunch. Now, I know nothing for a fact, obviously.
You hear that crowd pop when he came out, man? The fans want him. You hear that crowd pop when he came out during the casino ladder match?
He's on like Daniel Bryan yes movement right now.
Yeah. Speaking of Bryan Danielson, our main event was Bryan Danielson versus Bobby Fish. Winner was Daniel. See, he got me going. The winner was Bryan Danielson. This match was awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know really. I can't really put it into words. Like, it was a great main event. Bobby, I figured that Bobby Fish and him would be a really good pairing, but Bobby Fish has like that Falcon Arrow move that he does off the top rope, which he ended up doing this match, but I really like it. Yeah, what you guys think of it to wrap up the show?
It's another great like clash of styles because Bobby Fish. I know people have probably have seen him in NXT more than anything, but I feel like his MMA style, especially now outside of WWE, you've really seen a lot more of things that he does. And then with Bryan Danielson, I feel like Bryan Danielson can't have a bad match right now. Like, any match is going to be in, it's going to be, not to use a star rating, but always a 5-star right now.
I really enjoy this match. I knew right from the get-go, I was like, this is right up my alley of what I like about wrestling now. Just the type of wrestling that I like. And I like how it started. I like the pace. I assume that, I almost called him Daniel Bryan. I assumed that Bryan Danielson was going to go over. But, yeah, I thought this was a really good match. And I'm glad that Bobby Fish is in AEW now.
All right. Moving on quickly to Raw. Just wanted to talk about, since we already talked about it with SmackDown, I want to talk about Raw's King of the Ring semifinals and the Queen's Crown tournament semifinals. So for the King of the Ring, we had Xavier Woods versus Jinder Mahal. I know last week I think all of us maybe picked Jinder Mahal for the winner of this one, but it ended up being Xavier Woods. So at Crown Jewel, we'll have Xavier Woods versus Finn Balor to be crowned the new King of the Ring. Then for the Queen's Crown tournament, we had Shayna Baszler versus Dewdrop. I think we all also picked Shayna Baszler to win this one, but she did not. Our winner was Dewdrop. So at Crown Jewel, we're going to have Selena Vega versus Dewdrop to be crowned the first ever Queen's Crown tournament winner.
Yeah, and I just got to say, with the wrestling Twitter being the worst, it is the worst. Saw some people saying some really messed up stuff about Dewdrop, so not cool. If you had seen her in NXT UK, you know that she is an awesome worker.
She is definitely being held back on these main shows. She does not wrestle like how she did in NXT UK. Watch her against Kaylee Ray. Watch her against Toni Storm, and she had a good. I believe it was a triple threat match between both those two, as well as singles matches with both those two. They were really good. All right, guys. You want to jump into NXT 2.0 this week?
I guess.
I guess.
Lightly, please.
Yeah.
I did like the beginning of this show only because Johnny Gargano came back. And, the fans were excited to see him. It looks like he's going to try to recapture his North American title, which he stated that he's held it more than anyone else in NXT. So it looks like he's now going to feud with Carmelo Hayes. There was a weird segment, if you guys watch.
It looks so weird.
I don't even know anymore.
It's getting weirder every week, I feel like.
It just doesn't feel like I'm watching NXT. It feels like it's a brand new show that WWE created, and NXT is just dead.
It should not be called NXT 2.0 anymore.
Just call it something else.
Yeah.
Because it is something else. It's not the same. Now, I don't know if you guys watched every single segment this week, but there was a weird training in the woods with Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. And then they end with a beer toast, and I think Kyle's like, you're a weird dude. He's like, it's okay, I'm a weird dude too. I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the process of who came up with that script for let's put them in the woods.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just don't know anymore.
First name Bruce, last name Pritchard.
So next week, when it comes to NXT 2.0, we're gonna have. It's actually gonna air on a Tuesday. We're gonna have Halloween Havoc. There's a couple of matches on the card, and just wanted to go through your guys' predictions and see who you think is gonna win. We have MSK versus Imperium in an NXT Tag Team Championship spin the wheel, make the deal match. I don't know why. I'm gonna go with MSK. People hate them lately. Everyone's been booing them. It's almost like they just want the titles off of them. They came out this week during NXT and were just people were just chanting "You suck." So, but I don't know. I'd like to see Imperium win, but I think MSK is gonna win. Maybe they just turn them heels because everyone's booing them.
Yeah, I was gonna say just because the crowd wants them not to have the titles, I'm gonna say I'm agree with you that they're gonna win.
Yep. Tim?
Yeah, it's 3 for 3 for me. I think that they're gonna win too.
Oh, and there's also two other things going on. There's a debut of Solo Sakoa, who I looked up is another son of Rikishi. So he'll be making his debut.
Of kids in wrestling.
Yeah,
Rikishi does.
in those Samoan families.
Yeah.
And then a mysterious superstar is unveiled who they've been showing promos for, and I think it's just a dark version of Dakota Kai, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it, right?
Yeah.
So
we have the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship in a triple threat tag team match. It's called a Scareway to Hell ladder match.
Whoever had to do these names, I mean, I applaud them. That's really good. Really good.
Gotta make it Halloween theme.
Yeah.
It's Io Shirai and Zoe Stark who are the champions versus Indy Hartwell and Persia Parada versus Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane. I'm going to go with Toxic Attraction. I think they've been pushing them. Seems like that's where they're going with it.
Yeah, I actually like Toxic Attraction too. So I think mostly we're going to probably all agree on this direction of NXT.
Yeah. Tim, agree?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
So then we have the Women's NXT Championship and another spin the wheel, make the deal match.
I guess they ran out of ideas.
It's Raquel Gonzalez versus Mandy Rose. Do you think they finally take the belt off of Raquel and give it to Mandy? And if our predictions for the previous match are right, then all three of Toxic Attraction hold gold in the end.
Well, I'm actually going Mandy this one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think they go with Mandy and then, all Toxic Attraction holds gold by the end of the night if the tag team champion, our prediction for that, comes to fruition?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it seems like they're pushing Mandy like everywhere. Every single social media post I've seen from NXT, it's like about Mandy almost.
Yeah. Yeah. And how she's the prettiest and
yeah,
all that stuff. How about you, Tim?
Mandy.
She's not like that anymore. She's a darker character now.
Yeah, she doesn't have blonde hair.
Mandy.
God. So our main event is going to be for the NXT Championship. It's Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker. Sorry to say, but I think Braun Breaker's going over with the younger, new talent direction.
I was about to say the same thing. Like, Ciampa, I feel like was just a holder.
To get people to start watching like NXT, like the older fans to like stick with it and get to know these new guys first, and then
it feels like they're going 100% in this other direction now. So
kind of like having Jericho hold the title first in AEW to bring in some new fans, and then change it up. Yeah. You agree, Tim? Braun Breaker, a Steiner.
Yeah. That's all I gotta say about it.
You sound thrilled. Alrighty. Before we get into what we're going to end the show with, which is talking about a little bit about today's Crown Jewel, let's talk about this week's Dark Side of the Ring with Luna Vachon. Is that how you say her last name?
I heard a couple different ways. Vachon, and then Jericho on the show was saying Vachon. All
right, so I think I was the first of all of us to watch it this week, but like I said last week, I didn't really know who she was. I'd seen a bunch of pictures and clips of her before, but I think I was too young at the time to really remember it all and retain it all, and I wasn't a wrestling fan like I am now at that time. So, but I remember seeing her because she had the drawing of like the lightning bolts or veins or whatever it is on the side of her head, and she has a big blonde mohawk. But this special, man, she had a really sad life. I think they said she was like bipolar. You know, these people were talking, all these ladies were talking about, you know, some of her freakouts that she would just, you know, sporadically have. And she ended up, I think, getting into drugs. They dive into her being married to Gangrel. But she seemed like a lady that really loved the business and thought that she could do more for women's wrestling, but wasn't put into that spot. And I think it kind of added to her being, you know, depressed and just getting to some of the stuff that she got into.
Yeah, I was really I never knew that in the bikini contest when she said that she wasn't going to take her gown off, I didn't know that was a shoot. I thought that was just like her character saying, "No, I'm not going to get in a bikini for these people." Apparently that was like legit, and then she ended up getting fired a few weeks later because of it. It's really surprising how far women's wrestling has come since back then. Well, and I feel like there was a good period too of women's wrestling. You know, you had the, and I'm not saying that she was like an amazing person or anything like that, but you had the Fabulous Moolah era of wrestling, and then you had, I remember there was like a lot of like Japanese women's wrestling, and then for some reason in the mid to late 90s, everything became like super sexualized with all the women, and they didn't really wrestle anymore. It was just all about pillow fights and HLA matches and all kinds of other stupid stuff. I just wanted to say about that episode that again, another kind of sleeper of the season, one that I didn't realize that I was gonna I don't want to say I enjoyed it. I always say it's weird to find like an enjoyment out of somebody's like awful life, you know, but it was a fascinating episode, and I definitely learned a lot. Like I said at the top of the show, I had a couple mistakes about her, so I wanted to get those out of the way. But I knew that she was from the Vachon family and had a big wrestling legacy. So, yeah, it was cool to learn more about it. I was.
She ended up passing because of drugs, right? I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's really sad. It's one of those stories, though, like I've said before, some of the best episodes on this show are the ones I really don't know much about the topic. Because maybe, you know, it's better because I've heard so much information on the one before that I did know. And so this is, you know, fresh. And, I mean, most of the time, unfortunately, it's really sad. But it was a really good episode. I think it's worth checking out. Yeah. I think it's worth checking out to anyone that, especially you just had never heard of her before like I did. So, but to change the mood a little bit from that, I just wanted I'm not sure if, you know, everyone got to watch Crown Jewel today. It did come on a Thursday at 12 p.m. while people are at work.
You mean people don't watch a 4-hour pay-per-view in the middle of the day?
Yeah, while they're working. Luckily for me, I'm at a desk all day, and so I have a second monitor. I can put it off to the side, so I was actually able to catch it all. But we're not going to go through everything on the show. Just I want to talk about a few things. The first official opening match was Edge versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell. This match went about 29 minutes long from bell to bell. This match was awesome. They pulled out a lot of stuff. They were using each other's moves a lot. In the end, like, for example, the winner, Edge won with a curb stomp onto a chair.
Yeah, usually you don't ever see them actually win.
Yeah. There was some cool spots. Rollins did a sunset flip over Edge and pulled Edge through a table off the ladder.
that spot, I was kind of nervous because that table was a little far out. Like, usually the powerbomb is like the table's right next to the ladder.
You know, and Seth Rollins brought back, I think it was early on, trying to take out Edge's eye like he had been doing like a year ago. They brought that whole spot back. But it's a really good match, and it was a great opener. The eye thing?
No more eye stuff.
I agree.
Found this one like little niche thing that they like doing. It's like just getting people's eyes poked out. I don't know.
Yeah, then the people have to wear patches for once.
Was it Santana or Ortiz? Then he had his eye messed up at like the same time on the other channel.
I don't remember. Was that real though or not? Or I don't remember how his eye, quote unquote, got messed up, unless it was like an actual real injury. I do remember.
They did it. Him and John Moxley and him did like an eye for an eye thing.
Okay. No.
John Moxley was wearing the eye patch for a
that
little.
was kind of
no more.
Wasn't that
no more eye
Wasn't that
stuff.
a little bit after when WWE was doing it though too? I think.
Yeah, because they had like, wasn't it Rey Mysterio before?
And Malachi Black or Alistair, yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, this match was an awesome opener. The crowd was really into it, and this again was one of those, third and hopefully final match of a few that's going on in the wrestling world. I also wanted to talk about the Queen's Crown tournament finals, Selena Vega versus Dewdrop. The match as a whole, it was what it was. But I mean, it wasn't terrible. Zelina's actually like gotten a lot better over time. She makes some of those like moves like hurricanranas and stuff look really good. Unfortunately, what we mentioned earlier is that Dewdrop just doesn't wrestle like the monster that she could be. She's actually really good, but gets hindered in on this main roster. So, but your winner and first ever Queen's Crown tournament winner is Zelina Vega. So,
I don't think a lot of people saw that.
No, I did not. But it really fits her character. She was coming out with like the Queen Wave, and this was before she even won it. Sometimes I feel like a heel should win some of these things, and like how Baron Corbin did last year for the King of the Ring, and
Happy Corbin.
It's really good for the heel character.
Well, now it's Happy Corbin. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that.
He doesn't make it on the show.
But I was also looking at this like Zelina was let go. Do you think maybe part of her coming back was like, I really want you guys to actually do something with me this time, and maybe
I thought they were going to do that, but then they cut her match on, what was it, 9/11 episode?
Yeah. And where her father actually died during it, so.
And they didn't tell her, and they haven't really done anything since, so I guess it was like, I think they're like, oh, right, we promised her to do something, so let's give her this. Yeah.
Kind of let her down.
Because these tournaments, like same as the King of the Ring, the Queen's Crown, they don't get a shot at the title if they win. They're just either the Queen or the King. And
sometimes they change their name.
Yeah. Like King Booker.
Yeah. King Corbin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations to Zelina Vega. It's probably her biggest win in her entire wrestling career in WWE, at least. I don't think she's never won a championship.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest one.
So, good for her. After that, we did have Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley in a no-holds-barred match. The first half of the match, Bobby was in control. I believe it started with Bobby was facing the turnbuckle and pulled out a chain, and so that kind of started, he wrapped around his fist, and it started his whole in control part of the match for the first half. Second half was pretty much all Goldberg. The fight ends up going to the ramp, where Bobby Lashley yells back to come out. The Hurt Business comes out. They each have kendo sticks. They hand one to Bobby. Goldberg takes out the Hurt Business, grabs a kendo stick, starts beating up Bobby Lashley, and Goldberg ends up winning with a spear to Lashley off of the stage. Now, Corey Graves said it was like 15 feet high. It was not 15 feet high.
No way it was 15.
It was definitely more than 5. It was definitely more than 5. But, and then they went through like that. It would always looks like cardboard boxes with a black,
It's a crash pad,
sheet
basically.
over. Yeah, it's a crash pad. But honestly, and I saw a lot of people online saying this, it might have been the best Goldberg match since he's come back.
The best and the longest.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's what you gotta do with Goldberg. Is like give him some weapons. He doesn't have to
Yeah.
be running his head into turnbuckles and or posts. And I think last time he was in Saudi Arabia was when he was with Undertaker and really messed it up. So it was kind of a redemption over there in a way. But, it definitely was the longest. I couldn't tell you how long, but I thought it was the best.
Prince was
That's not
so
saying
happy.
much, but the Prince loves Goldberg and Lashley, I bet.
That's why he brought Undertaker to bring out Pitbull in that concert before.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. That was the most random thing I'd seen all week, I want to say, when you guys sent that to me.
Yeah. I know,
He's
Tim,
like,
you thought
I'm
it was
proud
fake.
to introduce Pitbull.
I was really asking if it was real.
It was real. It was also, why is Pitbull over there? But
Yeah. There's so many questions for that.
so anyway, next we had Finn Balor versus Xavier Woods for the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. The winner and your new King of the Ring, Xavier Woods. I think we're all a little bit surprised that it was him, but I was actually telling this to Jeremy earlier. This is, to me, now they're doing a singles push for Xavier as, they've done it with Big E. They've done it with Kofi, and Xavier's never gotten that before. So hopefully this really works out for him. I've said it before. I think he's an underutilized and sometimes underrated talent. This match was very good. I would go back and watch it if I were you guys. Finn was the star of it. It was basically Finn's match, but the winner was Xavier in the end. So congratulations to Xavier Woods.
It's kind of hard because both of these guys, you would think they deserve that win. Because, like, Finn Balor I don't really know what they're doing afterwards with him now.
Mm-hmm.
But then Woods also really deserved it, too. So you couldn't really go bad either way, I think.
Yeah, I think Finn played the quote-unquote heel in this match. People were really chanting for Xavier during it, if I remember correctly. But
interesting crowd as well.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, cheering for them and what they were chanting.
Yeah. For sure. It always is when they're over there. Half the time some of them are sitting on couches.
If I've been quiet during this segment, it's only because I have not watched the show yet. So I'm actually going to, maybe if I'm up late tonight after I watch Dark Side of the Ring, I will watch a little bit of it.
Maybe you can go quickly on your thoughts of it next week. Just in the beginning, has some house.
Yeah, I'll do at the
keeping,
top.
as you would
At the
say.
top of the show for episode 10. I'll go over it.
So after Finn Balor and Xavier Woods, I wanted to talk about the main event, which was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. I like the match. Roman put up a way more of a fight than he had in the past. This is a different Roman going against Lesnar than previously. He definitely took it to him. There was it was a good match. It's worth watching for sure. There was a spot in the match though where both men are down in the middle of the ring and Paul Heyman's on the outside with the title. And you saw this, Jeremy, right?
Yeah, I saw this part.
And he's holding the belt, and he's looking at both guys face down the ring, and he throws the belt into the ring, but he throws it right in between them, perfectly in the middle. Perfectly in the middle. And you don't know who he's saying it to, but he just says, "You know what to do."
Yeah.
So you don't know which way he's really going with it. But in the end,
Paul Heyman's like one of the best.
The best. He was and the announcers kept talking about it, how stoic he was the whole match. He almost like he was like thinking of like, side should I go on, you know?
Yeah.
And in the end, Roman won with, of course, you know, the help of the Usos. They came out, they both super kicked Brock, and I think the ref was distracted, and Roman took the title that Paul Heyman had thrown in the ring, which they actually, I forgot to mention, both men fought over it for a little bit once they both got up. But yeah, Roman ended up hitting Brock with the belt after the Usos had super kicked him, and he walked out of there still your tribal chief and universal champion. So as a whole, I would say this might be, I'm trying to remember from the past ones, but it might be my favorite crown jewel so far. From some of the matches I saw.
Definitely my favorite one. If I had to choose one.
I haven't even seen it, and it's already my favorite crown jewel.
Yeah, I mean, and sorry guys if you wanted to hear us talk about, you know, every single match, but I don't think Jeremy's seen every single match. Tim hasn't seen any of it. I know there's big title matches on there, like Drew McIntyre versus Big E, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, but yeah, I'm interested in hearing Tim's thoughts at the beginning of next week's show. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about for Crown Jewel today, guys.
Well, that about wraps up episode 9. Definitely join us next week for episode 10, and then we're going to take 2 weeks off, and we will be back after that. But don't forget, we're going to be doing that iTunes t-shirt promotion. So if you go to iTunes and leave us a review, whoever has the best review, we're going to send you a free t-shirt of our shirt off ProWrestlingTees.com. Guys, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the PW Fan. Go ahead and give Andy's Funko Pop collection on Instagram a follow at the 410 Fan Bros. And please like and subscribe to the PW Fan on YouTube, where we have full episodes available. ProWrestlingTees.com /the PW Fan to get your t-shirt and become part of the crew. Thanks again, guys, for listening, and join us next week where we talk all things wrestling.